Hello everybody and welcome back to some more Hearthstone here on the channel. Today we're going to be doing another arena, and I think we'll go as a mage this time. Just a little bit. I like playing as a mage. Going to do the intervening extra just because of the spells that we can get. Ping is very good, and you have it's a pretty nice class all around. Just the board control aspect, get some pretty good minions. We're gonna take an ogre for our second, and then probably a Cavaldi or Raider here because we will maybe using the ping a lot. Maybe something earlier like the Shattered Sun Cleric, and take a Tide Hunter, take a Zombie Chow there. Maybe a secret when a friendly minion dies, summon a random minion with the same cost. I think I will actually take the effigy. I've never used it, but it looks like a very interesting thing, especially for higher cost minions. Get an Arcane Intellect for some card draw in there, another Arcane Intellect. And Saboteur, your opponent's hero power costs 5 more this turn. It's not really big. I will take the Crazed Alchemist because of the potentially good effects it has. Add a random spell card to each player's hand. Kind of cautious on the spell slinger. I'll take a Force Tank Max because he gives us a solid later game character. We need a 4 mana thing, and the Tall Strider works out, as well as the Mech Yeti. I think I'll take the Mech Yeti over the Fireball, but take a spell next time we have a chance. And here we get, I'll put a Mad Scientist because we do have a secret. Spellbreaker. I'm going to do a Spellbreaker just because of the fact we already have a couple of Arcane Intellects. Duplicate. When a friendly minion dies, put 2 copies of it in your hand. Go ahead and take that. Dragon's Breath, deal 4 damage, costs 1 less for each minion that's died this turn. I'm going to take the Amani Berserker. Flame Strike to clear off the board. I really want some earlier minions, maybe some minor 5 or 6. That being said, we don't have any weapons, so I think the Tournament Medic might be the best option we have there. Vaporize is... I don't like Bloodstealth Corsair that much. Willing Soul. I'm gonna go with Vaporize. Okay, Blast, deal 2 damage to a minion. This spell gains double bonus damage from spell damage. It's pretty nice. Your hero power twice per turn. We spell stopper. Adjacent minions can be targeted by heroes or hero or spell powers. We don't have a lot of spell power, so I'm going to take the Garrison Commander. Then we have a couple of things with Inspire as well. Not going to take him. I'll take a Pit Fighter. Evil Heckler is a good card. Another Evil Heckler. We should have taken the other one earlier. Take the Murloc just because we need a 1 mana and we don't have any mechs anyway, so it would have been probably a waste. Let's take something that buffs mechs. Take another 1 mana, and then that should make us good. Iceland, so go ahead and take that. Coliseum Manager, return this minion to your hand on Inspire. I'll take it. And there we go. That is our Mage deck here. Got a pretty big curve favoring 3 drops, but we have a bunch of nice, interesting later items. Interested to see what we can get out of Effigy and potentially some of our other interesting cards. We have a bunch of 3 mana spells. A couple Arcane Intellects for some card draw. We had a chance at 3. There are a couple of things that I might have, with more forethought, have taken differently if I would have known what we would have got in the future. But we got some nice minions in there. We might be able to squeeze out a few wins here. Interested to see what we are able to take on the first match. It seems like the first match always takes a little bit of time to load. And then we finally find a worthy opponent, at least in the arena. And it's a Paladin.
I will fight with honor.
You asked for it.
Crazed Alchemist to Vaporize, Boulder Fist Ogre, and a Pit Fighter. I will get rid of everything but the Alchemist. Only because I don't want to use Vaporize on a really early minion, because in my opinion it's kind of a waste. Using Vaporize and then only getting like a 3 mana minion or something. And turn 1 Murloc Raider is probably a pretty good play. Evil Heckler we could coin out on turn 3, but that would be pretty nice. Evil Heckler is a very good minion for 4 mana. Glad we got a couple of those. He is going to do that with Silverhand Recruit. And I think an Amani Berserker here is pretty good for us. Kind of wanted to do the Crazed Alchemist, switch around his health and damage and kill that off, but Amani Berserker is better than having a Crazed Alchemist and a 1/1 out, in my own opinion. Flesh-Eating Ghoul. And there goes trades, and Flesh-Eating Ghoul gains some damage. And Zombie Chow, we could bring out the Zombie Chow. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that and then save the coin, kill him off. We end up having a couple of minions on the board, and the next turn we can put down the Evil Heckler. We didn't get to keep an Enrage Armani Berserker, but I think it's worthwhile to make sure that Ghoul doesn't get any stronger off of what we have. And so he's going to play a Shield Master. Alright, that is 4 mana. Objectively worse than what we're going to put out. 5/6 we could put out the Pit Fighter, but I think I'm going to go with the Evil Heckler. Make him trade into it, or else trade Heckler in ourselves. That'll give us a 5/1 still left on the board with Taunt and a couple of 2 damage, and then we have the Pit Fighter next turn. As well as a freeze we can do, and coins saved over so we can get the Force Tank Max out a little bit early if we don't have anything else to use on turn 7. Hoping to get a 6-drop or something next turn. So he's going to use the True Silver Champion to take out the Evil Heckler, but he'll take 5 damage from it. Heals himself back up with the Zombie Chow though. And we get an Argent Squire. Is it worthwhile? And I think I'll just kill him off, put the Squire out, and save the Pit Fighter so it doesn't get hit by the True Silver Champion. Hope that he hits space or something with it. I'd rather keep it out than put it out. He trades his Berserker and then hits it with his True Silver Champion. Switch this out for the little squeaky dude. And wait to see what this guy plays. It's always been one of my favorite boards because of the fact that you can bring different things up here, change the weapons around, release the dragons and stuff. Just some pretty interesting things you can mess around with here. Dragon's going to be a bit of a pain for the Pit Fighter. Get an Arcane Intellect, which is nice, and do we want to bother freezing the dragon? I don't think there is anything really intimidating that is going to come out of the dragon. Probably trade the Fairy Dragon and True Silver into the Pit Fighter and keep the Twilight Guardian alive. To answer, we can bring out a Force Tank Max next turn, or else Arcane Intellect into a couple cards, see if there's anything interesting we get from that. Or he's gonna Peacekeeper it, which is pretty good for him. Because a 1/6 is not nearly as damaging as a 5/6. Luckily we can still bring out the 7/7 with Divine Shield next turn. He's got a Blessing of Kings on his taunt, which is pretty bad for us. I might try to just get something that we can kill that off with an Arcane Intellect and then Ice Lance the taunt. Getting a Vaporized when a minion attacks your hero, destroy it. It's not really going to work if we freeze this guy. That Silence will work, however, and make it a lot less dangerous of a minion. So we'll probably use a Spellbreaker next turn. Just to make it a, what, 3-4? Or 2-6? Not afraid of a 2-6 without taunt, but I am afraid of a 7-10 with taunt. I didn't think we had really that much that could get us out of that unless he attacks it with the Vaporize, but I wasn't going to rely on that. But Spellbreaker does help us out a lot here. There's a 4-3 minion and gets rid of the big minion on the board, makes it a pretty small minion comparatively to what it was. Gonna be able to take out the fairy. Oh, we can't take out the fairy dragon with the Argent Squire because of the Tomahawk. Unfortunately, but I don't want to do Cavalier Reader if this wasn't a threat. Get rid of that. Do we use Vaporize here?
Well played.
That's not a valid target.
No, can't be targeted by hero powers. And I am going to put out a secret and turn. I didn't think of the fact that we have to ping this twice in order to summon the 4-4 when I drafted it. I'm usually used to, when I play it, being able to put out a buff on it and taunt it up or something else to really impact it, but we don't have anything that can do that at the moment. I could make this a 6-6 and deal 1 damage, which could kill off the taunt, but also clear our board of everything but the 6-6. Or put out an Ogre. I would not clear out the taunt. He keeps that from being enraged and we're not going to end up clearing the taunt out after all. Just gotta hope that he attacks with it first off.
Move quickly.
Instead of one of his smaller minions. Which looks like he is. So we're gonna get rid of the Fairy Dragon, which is not the best thing we could have done with the Vaporize, but it does slow down his damage a bit. And we're gonna be down to 8. I don't know if we have anything that could really stop him. Duplicate's not gonna help any. And yeah, it looks like we dropped the first game of this one.
Well played.
Go ahead and concede, save a little bit of time, and hop into the next match. And unfortunately, we weren't able to keep up with the bigger minions and just got overpowered by the Paladin. Just gotta go back in and hope for a better game here. Go against a worthy opponent, and we'll see who it's going to be. Another Druid. And going to get rid of
You asked.
everything but the Arcane Intellect because Nerubian Egg, now that I noticed it, is not good at all for us. Get an Argent Squire, which is a pretty nice minion just to throw out there early on. Nothing for turn 2 as of yet, but we're looking pretty decent here. This guy we can trade it into something, then use our hero power and bring him back. Play him again, which is pretty nice. Iceland's not really going to help us. We can't hero power that, can we? So we're just going to hero power him and attack him for 1. Deal a couple damage on turn 2. Not the worst thing that could happen, but not that great either. I think the 2-6 is going to be going out next turn, and we are actually going to be putting that out and passing the turn because I don't want to trade the Argent Squire into the Cub and just waste him. Plan is to attack with this, then hero power, kill it off, and then play him again. Or else we could do the Mad Scientist or a Pit Fighter too. Could Mad Scientist him? No. I don't know if I want to just replay him as my whole turn 4 though, is the only problem. Harvest Golem. Okay.
No ticket.
I fight.
And what can we do here? Yeah, I'll go ahead and just play the Murlocs, get some board presence here. Red Scientist makes him a 3/2. And that Scientist. Oh, it puts a secret from my deck into the battlefield after he dies. Hopefully he only dies after I get some bigger minions out, because I don't want any of these being brought back. I thought that was the one that switched the health around. Looks like he's going to be brought back into the battlefield. Or one of these guys. Actually, this secret comes out last, so swipe ends up being pretty good for him. We'll put out a pit fighter. Now the secret will bring back the pit fighter once it dies, correct? Oh, bring back a random 5-cost minion once it dies, so it could be better, it could be worse. Pit fighter is a pretty solid 5-cost minion, however. Arcane Nullifier is not really going to be too much of a problem with the pit fighter out. And I'm going to save the silence here, Arcane Intellect, and then throw out a Berserker and the Zombie Chow here. So if he kills one of these two, if he kills the Zombie Chow, it's going to be pretty bad for me, now that I think of it. It's not going to, actually you can't kill it unless he hero powers, so it's not as bad as I thought. We have a Silence and a pretty decent 4-mana minion in our hand, as well as an Ice Lance. Hungry Dragon, we get a Hungry Crab, or not Hungry, yeah, Hungry Dragon. So that's not the worst thing that could happen, well, that is. Flame Imp's not the worst thing we could have gotten out of it, however. It's even the gold Flame Imp too. So we got bad luck with the minion that was killed, good luck with what came out of it. He's gonna use a spell to get rid of it. Not too shabby for us on the trade-off. And there's an evil Heckler. Go ahead and put that out, freeze the dragon, and just hit him in the face. Let him trade himself in instead of... I'm going to bring him down to where I can kill him with the Pit Fighter next turn. Or kill him with the Evil Heckler. Probably with the Pit Fighter so we can keep the taunt.
My eyes are open.
Have a Silence and the Tall Strider still in our hand. Minions Death Rattle. Not the worst thing that could happen. That turns into a couple of minions, however. You play when a friendly minion dies, put 2 copies of it in your hand. We'll play that. Throw out the last Tall Strider. And kill off that dragon. Get the taunt. Kill that. And do we... So wait. When a friendly minion dies, put 2 copies of it in your hand. Is that when it doesn't die by me attacking? What do I want to do? I'd rather kill them off instead of hitting him for 3 or for 5. Because of the fact that now we have 2 minions that are lower health and they can't trade one of the... They can't trade the damaged golem into that. Panther's not too bad, especially if that's all he's going to play. We only got 2 cards left, so... Interested to see if he does anything else with his turn here. Could either kill the Tall Strider or the Berserker, probably the Berserker. Or both if he wants to run his hero power into it. And we get a pair of Berserkers out of that. Not the worst thing that could happen. He is going to restore 5 health to himself, though. It ends up being 4 after he takes that 1 damage, and he has a pair of minions left. We still have the Tall Strider out, silences all of your other minions, so he brought him out of stealth, which... Not bad for him, but... Pretty good for us. And do I want to hit this guy and enrage him? And might as well enrage him, give that guy a battle cry buff. Kill off the strongest minion, leave him alive with 1 health. Probably trade into both of these next turn, but that leaves him alive, buffed up, and we still have another Berserker and a Spellbreaker in our hand. So depending on what he plays, we are looking pretty good this time. I don't know what he has in the back of his deck, or the back of his hand, trying to save if he has a big minion in there. He's actually going to try to take out the Cavalier instead of going after either of the almost dead minions unless he has a AoE in his hand. He doesn't look to have a swipe, so he's going to kill the Cavalier. And is he going to kill either of the other two? He is not. He's going to give someone a Taunt Bear, which does lead to the death of one of our minions, however. Kill that off, throw him out. Is he enraged? No, he doesn't enrage twice. He's going to enrage this guy. Hit for 5, so we have a couple of enraged berserkers and a shattered sun cleric. It's 13 damage, he's down to 17 health, so we are looking pretty good. 6/6. He's not going to do him much. He's going to kill one of our guys, though. And it will be the middle berserker. He'll take 2 damage from that after the armor. And his hand is empty. Inspire heals us. That is very good. I don't want to silence anything we have. Kill that off. Heal us for 2. Deal 3 damage. And I'll keep the silence in our hand just in case we really need it, which I have before. Really, Mech Warper, not going to waste the silence on that because I doubt he'll draw into too many mechs, so that'll help out this late in the game. Put a big taunt out there, just hit him in the face for 5 damage. Bring him down to 8, heal us up for another 2. And it looks like we got a win here, unless he has a high damaging card to use. This guy has 8 health, so it's pretty good for us, and we end up winning. So we're going 1 for 1 so far, which is pretty good. I'm gonna hop into a 3rd game here. So we went 1 for 1. We got a nice victory and a not so good loss on the first match, however. Let's see if we can end this episode with a winning record here. And it will be against a shaman. Alright. Our 3 cards, going to get rid of everything but the Tidehunter here. Yeah, everything but the Tidehunter. Don't want to keep a couple of Pit Fighters and a Flame Strike. Hope to get something for turn 1, maybe another turn 2 or 3. It's pretty good if we coin out one of them. Turn 1, coin out a Tidehunter. Get a couple of not so bad Murlocs. Or we could coin into killing that Dust Devil. I think I'd rather put a couple minions out and take 6 damage here. He is unsurprisingly going to go to the face of the Sun Devil once, and then he's going to kill off the Murloc. Okay. Crazed Alchemist. Do we put him out just to have a minion out this turn, or do we save him just in case there's something useful? I'm going to save him. Just in case he puts out a big taunt with low attack that we can kill off, or vice versa with a dangerous minion.
I've got the beast in my sack.
Big Game Hunter, he's going to use on a board without anything that it can kill. So I am in no way going to complain about that. Go ahead and kill it off right here. Put out a Zombie Chow. Get a 2/3 on an empty board. So we used a Big Game Hunter on a board with really nothing on it that is dangerous enough to really warrant it in my opinion, but usually Big Game Hunter would only be good if there is a big target on the board anyway to deal with. He's going to get 4 health from that and then use a Spectral Knight. So I think I'm going to put the Mad Scientist out, switch that around, kill him off to keep our Tall Strider alive, and then do we vaporize, or I'm gonna Arcane Intellect here. I'm not too afraid of taking some damage. think that he might trade that into a minion in order to get it off the board. Next turn we could put out a couple of secrets, maybe buff up a card or summon a Yeti maybe. Draconoid Crusher is not going to get a buff, so pretty good for us. I am going to... do I play Vaporize here? Yeah, I'm going to Vaporize, kill this off.
Valid target.
Can't be targeted by Hero Power, so kill it off with that. Then hit him for 1. I think getting rid of a 6/6 is good enough for a Vaporize. Especially while we have a board where it's pretty much guaranteed that it will get destroyed by that. Or else he'll overthink and just not attack us this turn. And he does not attack us this turn, so it does keep us from taking some damage. Could Flame Strike here. Or we could summon some minions, which I think I'm going to do. Just to get some presence on the board here. He'll probably proc the Vaporize with the Spider. Unfortunately, but I think it's better for us to get a couple of minions on the board. We can kill off that 6 mana pretty easily in tune with Flame Strike. And yeah, he's gonna trade in. Probably end up getting a Spider Vaporize. But we can clear off anything on the board here. I'll drop 2 cards, he overloads for 2. And he gets a Boulder Fist Ogre. Not going to attack. Alright. So in a pretty good position to play this.
I fight.
And trade into that. Probably should have traded him in before and then Flame Strike both of the spiders. Didn't think of it, and there goes our Vaporize. So we ended up missing out on vaporizing a Ogre by doing the Flame Strike in the wrong order.
Did you bring some fish?
You're in the totem. I'm not too afraid of that. Except for the fact that it can keep the Ogre alive longer. And he has a pretty opposing board out. So we might be in some trouble here. Duplicate, that's not going to help us. Gonna go ahead and draw a couple cards. And put out a Tournament Medic, I suppose. And whoever we hit's just going to be healed back up again unless it's that guy. Go ahead and heal ourselves for 2. Probably kill off the medic without much cost to himself, however. And he is looking pretty good right now. So I go by your totems to attack. Probably summon the totem. Yep. What's that? 4, 6, 9, 16 damage. In a pretty tight spot right here. Can kill off this totem next turn. Might be the only thing we really can do that is going to help us. Do we have anything that can save us? An evil heckler takes 1 hit, so no, we're still gonna lose this anyway. So
Well played.
well, we end up getting 1 victory here, so not doing completely well so far on the arenas. Hoping to get a couple more wins on the next time round with the Mage. But until then, thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all again next time.